Hi everyone. As Indians, we need to know a great missionary who spent 41 years of his life in India serving God and teaching and preaching, and who built a great foundation for missions and Christianity in India. Okay. William Carey, who was also called the father of modern missions, was born in England in 17th August 1761. He was the eldest of 5 children. His father's name Edmund Carey and mother Elizabeth Carey. They were weavers by trade. As a child, William Carey had interest in natural sciences, especially botany. He also had gift for languages. He was learning Latin at age 12. At 14, he joined as an apprentice to a cobbler. He worked while he was learning also. He was reading while he was working. And he learned Greek in that time with the help of a graduate villager. Even during that time, as an apprentice to a cobbler, he also got to know about Jesus and became a believer. He later took over the cobbler business, and he learned Hebrew, Italian, Dutch, and French languages. Much of the mission work which we will later see has been obtained through the missionary reports which he sent to Britain from India. He faced a lot of obstacles. He read, in his young age, he read about the lives of David Brainerd, John Eliot, who was a Puritan missionary in New England, and the journals of explorer James Cook, and he became concerned with propagating gospel throughout the world through Christians. William Carey urged fellow pastors and leaders to set up a missionary agency. He himself was a pastor now, and while he was urging these many times, one time an elder pastor snapped at him. He said, "Young man, sit down. When God pleases to convert the heathen, he'll do it without consulting you or me." William Carey didn't take that for an answer. His love for God was great. And in coming years, he made great sacrifices. He paid a heavy price. He underwent big hardships. But there were many obstacles. Let's see some of the obstacles and hardships he went through. William Carey did not have a formal training or education. Okay, he didn't go to school after age 12 because of his family's condition. So he was educationally unqualified, but he had great gift for languages. He learned and knew many languages. So he wanted to share Christ to different nations and cultures. When he was preparing for his ordination, he was rejected during his first sermon. It took 2 more years for him to get prepared and ordained. And when he became a pastor, many fellow servants and pastors and leaders, they ignored his missionary concern. Later, when his book on church history, which was famously released, which titled an inquiry into the obligations of Christians to use means for the conversion of heathens. An inquiry into the obligations of Christians to use means for the conversion of heathens. Okay, in this book, he emphasized Christ's great commission is not only for the apostles, pastors, or leaders, but also for each believer, each Christian. He urged Christians, in order to claim the comfort and promises of the Bible, we need to accept the commands and instructions of the Bible as well. And after this, the Baptist Missionary Society was formed in 1972, and William Carey delivered a famous sermon called Deathless Sermon, which he used the Isaiah 54, 2 and 3 verses from the Bible, and he repeatedly urged these phrases: expect great things from God and attempt great things for God. And after this, William Carey was sent as the first missionary to India by the Baptist Missionary Society, along with Dr. John Thomas, who had been in Calcutta before. So they settled in North Midnapur, and William Carey at that time, in order to support himself, he was managing an indigo plant. Side by side, he was doing his Bible translation work and missionary work. The British East India Company was more focused on trade and was hostile against missionary work. So the mission group, William Carey and others, they settled in a Danish settlement because they welcomed him in the area called Serampur. And then the Baptist Missionary Society sent few more missionaries and to the mission group there in India who joined William Carey. When we see his family, William Carey had and his wife Dorothy had 7 children, but they lost 3 children in different stages. Two female children, they died in their infancy, and 1 male child at the age of 5 due to ill health. After the death of his first son, Dorothy became mentally unstable, and she could not cope up living in India in bad conditions. Later, she was kept confined in a room, and she ultimately died in 1807. William Carey then remarried and continued his mission work. And in terms of missions work and the results, in India at that time, becoming Christian, and even now, becoming Christian breaks the caste system which is in our country. And hence there was great opposition and persecution against any conversion or against Christians. William Carey learned Bengali from a Pandit, and he started translation work of Bible to Bengali, and he was preaching in small gatherings. His first convert, is named Krishna Paul, got converted in December 1800 after 7 years of missionary work in Kolkata and West Bengal by William Carey. Like, it took 7 years for the first convert. And we can see his patience and his faithfulness in those 7 years. William Carey was also against culturally evil practices, like we had child sacrifices to God. We had sati system where the widows were burnt alive during the husband's funeral. In 1812, the mission group's printing plant got fire, and it destroyed years of translation work, dictionary work, and other works. And there were repeated attacks of malaria, cholera. They were living in bad conditions. There were always insufficient funds. And some people in the missions organization took secular employment also to support themselves and the mission. And we saw all these obstacles, all these problems, are all these worth? Yes. Let's see what God did through William Carey and his mission group. In India at that time, only Brahmin people and people who can write, the writer's caste, can read. Many others, most of the people were uneducated, and no girls, like girls were never encouraged for reading and studying. William Carey started the first primary school by his own funds in India, and even encouraged girls to be educated for the first time. He formed a great team called Serampur Trio, in which William Ward was also there. He was a printer. Joshua and Hannah Marshman were there. They were teachers. This trio did great mission works. They translated Bible in around 34 Asian languages and dialects. They compiled dictionaries of Sanskrit, Marathi, Punjabi, and Telugu. William Carey himself translated Bible into Bengali, Oriya, Assamese, Marathi, Hindi, and Sanskrit. They started the Serampur College and Serampur University. They began and established many churches and 19 different mission stations. They established over 100 rural schools encouraging girls' education. And William Carey started the Horticultural Society of India in 1820 at Alipur. He also served as a professor at Fort William College, Calcutta, teaching Bengali. And he began the weekly publication called The Friend of India, which later changed its name to The Statesman and printed the first Indian newspaper. William Carey introduced the concept of savings bank to assist poor farmers. He also fought against the sati system, child sacrifice system. This helped leading to the ban of sati in the year 1829. William Carey served for 41 years in India without taking a break, without going to home for a period, without visiting England. And there were around 700 converts in his time period because of his mission work. And but he laid a great foundation in India through biblical translations, his teaching, preaching, education, and social reforms. He was also the India's first cultural anthropologist. He died in 9 June 1834. William Carey's life inspired later tens of thousands to give themselves for the spread of gospel. Later, we see Adoniram Judson, David Livingston, Hudson Taylor. Like we see many other missionaries going to different nations who got inspired by William Carey's mission work, and hence he was called the father of modern missions. His life inspires us as well. We pray, we pray that our lives be used for the spread of gospel. God bless.